Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending today's forum. We are pleased to see all of you spending some of your Saturday time here with us. Today we are going to speak about almost eternal subject, eternal to the history of Islamism in the world. Can Islamists be Democrats? The topic which is addressing concerns for possibly many of us, even in Malaysia, as a Muslim majority country, with all the discourses that we are having here. Islamism, or political Islam, refers to a wide variety of often competing movements that treat Islam as a central tenet of a political project. And Islamist is a person who advocates political agenda where the application of Sharia is central. Hence, all Islamists are Muslims, though not all Muslims are Islamists. But the failure of the legalist approach of Egypt's Muslim Brotherhood has had a significant impact on the way a young generation sees institutions and political systems. For the Islamists among them, it seemed that despite their efforts to understand and to play by the rules, they would have never been accepted and they will never be accepted as Islamists. The masses were and are still skeptical that they would turn democracy to become an autocracy. It was surprising then when Ghannouchi's An-Nahda decided in Tunisia, decided to separate politics from religion and proclaimed that there is no room left for political Islam within the country's democratic constitution. Ghannouchi boldly said, "We are Muslim Democrats, not Islamists." Although we must mention here that same young generation in Tunisia, many of them are still skeptical about this transformation of Islamists into Muslim Democrats. And it still remains to be seen if these people, given the full power, will turn country into a real democracy or they will turn it into a somehow Islamic autocracy. And here in Malaysia, the Muslim political rivalry has also triggered the birth of a new group, the Muslim Democrats. The two groups, the Muslim Democrats and the old-style Islamists, are now competing by using a different approach in getting the support of the people. While the Islamist group is continuing to champion its Islamic State agenda and the implementation of hudud as a political ambition, the Muslim Democrats recognize democracy and freedom as the basis of their struggle. Without doubt, this change from Islamist to that of Muslim Democrat, albeit by the formation of a new post-Islamist party, is an exciting development in this country, for it somehow shows the maturity of the Islamists to embrace liberal democracy, multiculturalism, and pluralism to become Muslim Democrats. This forum will address and discuss this phenomenon of the changing trend and landscape in Muslim politics after the so-called phenomenon of the Arab Spring. I would like to introduce you the speakers who participate in today's forum. We have a special guest who also spoke at several previous events in the previous days, if some of you attended. It's Dr. Azzam Tamimi, who is a British Palestinian academic and a political activist, and also a director of Institute of Islamic Political Thought in London. And Dr. Tamimi authored several books, one of which we are going to present today. YB Saari Sungib, the often participant of the IREF events, who is the Selangor State Assembly member of a 2013-2018 session for the Hulu Kelang State Constituency, excuse me, from the National Amanah Party. Dr. Dzulkefly Ahmad is the strategy director of Parti Amanah Negara, an Islamist Democrat and former MP for Kuala Selangor, who also used to be a director for Past Research Center. And of course, Dato Dr. Ahmad Farouk Musa, who is going to moderate today's session. But again, before we start, I'm very pleased to invite here to this microphone YB Nurul Izzah Anwar, MP from Lembah Pantai district, to present the book, which was written by Dr. Azzam Tamimi, and it is called Rachid, Ghannouchi, a Democrat within Islamism. Today, however, we are presenting its translation into Bahasa Melayu, which the title sounds as Rachid Ghannouchi, Seorang Demokrat dalam Wacana Islamisme. This is the book we are presenting today, and I'm very pleased to give this microphone to Nurul Izzah. Please.
Terima kasih pengerusi majlis di atas juga pengenalan. Yang saya hormati Dr. Farouk Musa menjemput saya hadir pada hari ini. Yang kita raikan Dr. Azzam Tamimi yang merupakan antara penggerak utama ya bagi kami ahli politik Muslim Demokrat di Malaysia. Yang saya hormati Dr. Dzulkefly Ahmad dan juga YB Pak Abu Ruah, Dr. Saari Sungib, keseluruhan pimpinan IRF yang dikasihi, ladies and gentlemen, including Abdul Rahman who's here, future engineer insyaAllah, the great tradition of engineers in politics. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to all of you. I wanted to clearly state that this whole conversation or debate with regards to whether democracy can coexist with Islam and whether Islamists can actually be committed Democrats. I think for us in the opposition front, who is almost all represented here, we've achieved perfect balance and peace. I think I speak to you today as someone who's not only inspired by this book, originally written in English. It was such an important book for me because it showcased the experiences that Dr. Rachid Ghannouchi went through in his formative years, and it really proved to me how important it is in the chosen field that you have to not just have the right temperament, but to understand the world by going through its experiences and understanding through empathy the lens of every person, regardless their ideology. And it's not something it is not something that is normally gone through by many scholars, especially Islamic scholars. And in the great tradition as an Islamist, he remains one of the credible voices that when he proclaims, I'm no longer an Islamist, I'm now a Muslim Democrat, my dear, I tell you, it sent shockwaves throughout the world. I was in Tunisia a couple of years back. We were together, Dr. Zul. I remember the Ennahda Party Convention, where this became a very heated debate. And of course, people were really, especially the Western media, completely flawed when the declaration came to be. But the crucial bit is the impact. You want this book, the thoughts, the experience to basically guide the next generation. In a world where we have Trump and we have fake news being readily available, it's really a world that is completely without a clear-cut moral compass. And it really becomes more incumbent on us to spread certain positions and make sure they become part of the mainstream psyche. And because of that, when asked to come here today, I did not hesitate. I would like to assure Dr. Azzam Tamimi, it is very rare for such works. You are not only the chairman of Al Hiwar Television now, Al Hiwar channel, but the books that are often quoted in regards to you, which is of course Hamas, Unwritten Chapters, and of course secondly Rachid Ghannouchi, a Democrat within Islamism. Now this book, I am telling you, with great authority, to my knowledge, has been read by not only politicians and members of parliament from the opposition, but also the government. And it's a testament how crucial it is, because as you move forward, people can spew many theories, people can have many viewpoints, but to actually have in written format the living example of a leader like Dato Ghannouchi, and how many people actually resonate with that kind of value and that kind of experiences, will have unimaginable impact to the politics of today. Now, I also wanted to say a few things. I believe it would be incomplete if we don't confront some of the controversies, some of the problems that we face. The name Ayman al-Zawahiri, I think was just mentioned just now, but Dr. Azzam, now many people know of him as the leader of Al-Qaeda. Not many know that he's an eye surgeon. And not many also realize that most of the foreign fighters from Malaysia who are flying to Daesh, 6 times per capita more than Indonesia as of 2015, are mostly engineers, such as myself and inshallah Abdul Rahman. Yeah? So it means there's a clear-cut problem that we have to address. And does it mean that we fall victim to the prevailing fake news or truths that are being propped up by certain groups? No. Young people who are here, concerned citizens who are here, I believe it is more incumbent on you to not just be well-read, but understand the reality as it stands. I wanted to state here, one of the books that I just finished was written by an ulama from Al-Azhar. Yeah, it was in Indonesian translation, Radical Islam, and it basically summarizes the thought process held by many mainstream ulamas and zeroes in the problem of takfiri to just Muhammad Qutb and Said Qutb. And of course, factually, when you take things out of context, it's so easy to basically say, this is the problem, and if we didn't have these thinkers, if we didn't have the Ikhwan, the world would be a better place. And we will not be confronted by the evil, the scourge that is Daesh. And I think that cannot be further from the truth. The fact that Ayman al-Zawahiri states that he is the anointed son. He is the only one that knows how to interpret properly the thinking of Said Qutb, basically validates our position that we are taking things and allowing things to be taken out of context, that we, if not having the right courage to fight back, to push back, will just allow ourselves to be apologetic Islamists. Why? Because you have a certain support base on certain ideology. Please let's not forget, there are many autocrats out there, despotic regimes, completely atheists, completely godless, but the ones that are being targeted, of course, has always been Islamists. And I think this is an unfair categorization. When we were in Tunisia, Dr. Zul will remember, clearly the inference is made on the Christian Democrats. Proud Christians, but also proud politicians, and there's absolutely nothing wrong if Islamists would like to be part of the political system. Now, the question therefore comes to the point, when you understand and you realize their right to be participating in a political system, of course, we also would like to advocate from our particular point of view, you also have to be inclusive and accommodating. And I come from a multiracial party. We chose a party not to represent a particular group or race, and we stand proud with the fact that Malaysia, as a multiracial nation, would need to embrace diversity as its main strength. So, in sum, regardless who you are, I believe the message that is inherent in this book is to be unashamed, to be truthful, to be proud, and to always realize, despite the craziness and the hypocrisy of the world at large, nothing justifies cynicism. I would like to end by also maybe extending my deep gratitude and thanks. I know it hasn't been easy for Dr. Azzam to continue his work with his voice, most of which I agree with, some perhaps I have disagreements with, but he has remained steadfast during my earlier years. I think before I joined politics actively, he was also in Malaysia discussing the Abrahamic faith that 3 different groupings shared in the Middle East. And I see that he hasn't lost any of his vibrant, passionate voice. And I'm sure that that is something that has always given us impetus and inspired us until today. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure by the end of 8/9/2018, not only have you read this, you have to ensure that its message, its key points would have been shared by at least 10 other people. And if we have that commitment, that realization that we stand tall in our identity in various hues of being a Muslim. Some could be more Islamist, some could be more democratic. But at the end of the day, we have to start embracing and taking pride, including in engaging with those of other faiths. With that, I am very proud to present to you our panel, and I'm very proud to be part of this initiative. Congratulations, IRF. Dr. Farouk, make sure you keep it coming. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, YB Nurul Izzah, for your inspiring and very passionate speech. I think it's a very good starting for our today's event and our panel speakers. With regards to Tunisia, I think possibly any Muslim country is tackling the same problem, which is the existence of several parallelly existing discourses, like the one we are having here, and the kind of intellectual discourse, and we very much would like for the fruits of our discussions here could be shared by average people, by the masses, by people who probably do not think about Islam and politics in their everyday life, but yet they could think about the values that we are talking here and their connections to the politics. Same, I think, is happening in Tunisia when these Muslim Democrats, they shaken the discourse and launched the waves in the Muslim world, and at the same time Tunisia remained the main supplier of the Daesh fighters in the world, possibly championing only before my own country, unfortunately. With this, I'm very sorry to inform you that I think we'll have to excuse Nurul Izzah because she will have to leave. She will have to leave early. But I hope she could stay for a while to participate a little bit. And I'm passing the microphone to Dato Dr. Ahmad Farouk Musa, who will moderate today's discussion.
Thank you, Julia. First of all, as last night, I would like to welcome Dr. Azzam Tamimi again. And to you, Izzah, I know that, it's difficult for you to travel from all the way from Turkey and, arriving here and have to be here and then you have to rush to Al-Osta, to Dr. Zul Abu Iman, Sheikh Abu Iman, and to my Mas'ul, Sheikh Abu Urwah. Welcome. And we're happy to have you over here. And normally, for those who have attended IRF events, you should know that I would normally start with my presentation. But today I decided not to have any slides presentation because after hearing what Dr. Azzam Tamimi spoke last night, I thought that I do not want to have any more slides today. So what Julia mentioned that Rachid Ghannouchi made a bold stand, and Noiza also said he made a bold stand to say that we are no more Islamists, we are Muslim Demokrat. Dr. Azzam Tamimi did not agree with that proposition, and I don't want to complicate things. I better leave it to you. You're the expert. You live with Sheikh Rachid Ghannouchi, and I think it's time for us to hear from you yourself. You're welcome, Dr. Azzam Tamimi.